May the road rise up to meet you, and the wind be on your back. May the sun shine warm upon you, and the rain fall gently down.
Hello and welcome back. Today we're at week 13 of the series, and that will cover days 78 to 84. Or if you have the addition of the road rising that follows the calendar, then you'd be looking at March 18 to March 24. We left the pilgrim last week adrift in a boat with no way to propel himself. And we saw his emotions run the gamut from fear to despair, finally to anger. His reaction to God is reminiscent of the disciples on that storm-tossed sea when they yelled out to their master, "Lord, don't you care if we die?" Well, obviously God did care, since the storm that swept over friend brought him to shore. But not before it brought him, apparently, to the side of Jesus, standing on the water and beckoning him to come. The storm passes as well as the vision, and friend has a chance to consider what just happened. Maybe you can relate to his thoughts here in his journal entry for March 20, day 80. Here's what we read. By the time I awoke, the storm had passed. My feet still lay in water, but the waves lapped gently over my ankles. The boat was touching the shore not far away, and I could just see the top of my backpack still resting inside. The remains of my makeshift sail were scattered up and down the beach. I sat up trying to remember how I had gotten here, and then the memory came flooding back. I stood to my feet, looking in all directions in vain hope of seeing him again. Had it really happened? Or had I been dreaming some kind of hallucinogenic vision? I tried to review the facts again, the storm, the fear, the sight of something which prompted me to get out of the boat, only to discover that I was in shallow water again. I had not really walked on the water after all, and the combination of hunger, thirst, and sheer terror could explain the situation. And yet, he had seemed so real. Even the dream that I now recalled was unlike any I had ever experienced. He was standing there beside me, encouraging me, sheltering me, loving me. Now that I was awake, I saw nothing, heard nothing. But does this mean that what I saw and heard before was not real? As I thought about it, very few people in the Bible ever came face-to-face encounters with God. Instead, it was dreams, or prophets, or burning bushes that moved them to action. The few times he did come close to his people, they pulled away, or fell on their faces in fear. Perhaps it's God's mercy that I don't see him. C.S. Lewis once said that if Christians ever really did see God, they would be killing themselves in order to get to heaven immediately. And then there's the fact that even what I can see can be a deception, a lesson I've learned painfully on this trek. Maybe God does not appear in the flesh because man would only doubt him all the more. At the end of the day, the best, most real experience I can have is the one that comes to me by the way of the heart. There's an important lesson here that we must all come to grips with, and that concerns the basis of your faith in Christ. Did you come about your decision logically, examining all the facts, and then concluding that he is real? Were you led to your decision by a friend, a family member, or someone else whose word you trusted or prompted you to step out in obedience? Or did this journey begin because of a supernatural experience, a vision perhaps, or a miraculous event that could only be explained by a miraculous God? Many of you, I'm sure, could say, yes, it happened just like that. Something happened, and now my life will never be the same. Well, I'll be the first to affirm the experience that brought you to faith. God works in mysterious ways, and all you need to do is read His Word or listen to the stories of His followers to know that these life-changing moments are real. They make up such a rich tapestry of who we are and whom we serve. But I need to add this word of caution. Remember that the enemy of this world is a master of deception. He is capable of both manufacturing miraculous-looking events and of trying to convince you that your experience was not real, and certainly not worth the decision you made as a result. This is not an easy issue to resolve, and part of the problem lies in the source of your interpretation. Now, I love Hallmark movies. They're so sappy sweet. The love we see on screen is so innocent and so encouraging. Did you ever notice, by the way, in a Hallmark movie, there's always a time when the young couple almost kiss, but it's interrupted by something, and they miss the moment. But then, approximately 15 seconds before the end of the movie, they do kiss. The music comes up, and the next thing you see are the credits rolling up the screen. That's fine. But what I really have a problem with is the moment about, 3/4 of the way through the movie, when some wise person, usually a grandma or an old but lovable gentleman, gives advice to the struggling young person. And what they say invariably is something like this: well, do you love each other? Then, dear, just follow your heart. I've got a problem with that. Because at the end of the day, you understand, a person's heart is the least dependable of all of our senses. So here's the takeaway. If your faith today is based on how you feel, and that feeling is based on an isolated experience, then there's a train wreck coming. Hear me well. I'm not saying that your life's changing experience nor the feelings associated with them are wrong. I still love Hallmark movies, and I still love to hear people share their testimonies of faith. But those experiences, those feelings must be accompanied by affirmation from fellow believers. That's part of what we're all about here in this series, testing your faith against others who share your journey. Let me leave you with this reminder from Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens the wits of another. See you next time. Y'all come back now here. This pump works, but needs priming. Just enough water stored under the door. Please refill before you go.